just the video.
Yeah,
Live.
yeah, we're live.
We're live, yeah. I think so.
We're
I think
live.
we're people.
That's great.
Let's see. Exciting.
People have not seen like usually they don't see stuff like that.
I don't think they see the behind the scenes. No. I mean, most podcasts, most video recordings, like you just stage it and then you're like, okay, go.
This time, if I
Okay,
choke, I
folks.
choke live, and that's it.
Well, you see 911 come in here.
Okay, that's oh my god. Wow,
Exciting.
that's great.
Well, this is
We've
fun.
got attendees rolling in. So guys, as you jump in, please throw your name, your location, where you're coming in from into the chat. We'll wait a couple minutes just to get our numbers up and then we'll get kicked off.
Exciting.
Yeah.
How's-
So, did you already have coffee this morning?
No, not yet. Well, I had a little bit because I had to wake up and I drove up from normally I'm in South Bay, drove up to the city.
Yeah.
I had my coffee before I started driving this morning. Yes.
Okay.
But I haven't had enough yet. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
But we're gonna
Excited.
have enough today.
Oh, we'll have a ton. Then like
We're gonna have a ton.
the Philip's gonna surprise us with 4 different ones.
That's
It's gonna be
great.
fun.
That's incredible.
Are we supposed to know what they are?
Since you're waiting, should we start with the equator?
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah. So
Pure black.
pure black.
That's what we need.
Pure black. So this one
Okay.
is straight up. You don't mix this with anything.
That's good.
Just have a little bit to taste, and do comment on the tasting notes. Everything.
All right, let's do it. Well,
Cheers.
cheers, dudes. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming here. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun. Nice. So for those who don't know us, this is introduce yourself, and then we'll do an intro later when we get started.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Herman. We're live
We're live.
from San Francisco, and I'm a product manager at Vanta. My role is technical research. I discover new cool things and try to build product around them. And I also am the author of AARM. AARM is a system specification for agentic runtime security. It stands for Autonomous Action Runtime Management. And Jiquan and I met before AARM was a thing because we wrote a paper on MCP security. Introduce yourself, dude.
Thanks, Herman. I'm Jiquan. I go by JQ. Worked with Herman on MCP security way back in last year when it was playing a thing. So background on myself. Let's see. I actually used to be so we have time now to go a bit deeper in that. I used to be at Stanford working on AI way back in the day with Andrew Ng, my advisor in grad school. And he and I actually went on to start a small education company. Not sure you know of this Coursera? Heard of that?
Yeah.
So he and I actually started Coursera. I made all the early machine learning classes with him.
Okay.
And then that became a whole thing for us. So that was a fun ride there for 7 years. Then after that, I was at Google Brain doing applied research with Waymo. Doing all the, getting in the cars in like 2018 before they were on the streets was really fun. And then more recently, my team, we've been working into the enterprise AI land now, helping people figure out how do all these agents get secured in the enterprise? How do they connect to your data systems, using MCPs, and doing all the important work that both of us are focused on. Because I think the hardest thing to do is security right now.
Oh, yeah, security is absolutely hard. But before we dive into it,
Good,
let me ask you a question.
Go for it.
About, okay, so when did you start in AI then? Was 20?
In AI itself?
Yeah.
So I did my undergrad actually all the way back in
What year?
2005.
205?
So actually before that, okay, I was doing AI, like I've been interested in neural nets and AI for like forever. As soon as I got my first computer, I was like, how do I program this thing to be smart? But I think my first forays was in undergrad, doing research work in knowledge bases back then. Psych, I worked with someone called Scott Fahlman, who made very early cognitive science-based machinery, ACTAR. I'm sure you've heard of those.
Okay.
Then after that, I went Stanford, worked with Andrew on deep learning research, published very seminal early papers on multimodal learning.
Did you have token maxing then?
No, back then we were trying to make the models produce this thing called Gabor filters. Really silly things like how our vision system is, like detecting edges, and we're like, oh my god, it can learn. That was a 2009 2010 thing, and then the 2010s to 2020s was this amazing just like upslope of more compute, more data, better models. And just kept going.
And then I think agents have reshifted from an agent can detect that this is a mug with a beautiful coffee. And actually, it's really good. It's kind of like it has this kind of like little thing
The copy.
yeah, it's very strong.
Yes.
But now agents are really like taking actions, and that's scary because they are non-deterministic machines.
Oh,
And
yeah.
how do we think about that?
It's both frightening and unnerving, but
Yeah.
also super interesting and exciting. The fact that we can give it a task to do and oh my God, it gets it done. It goes
Yeah.
through all the data it needs, it looks into the CRM, looks into the calendars, combines everything, like, okay, this is what you should do next. It's
Yeah.
insane. Like I can get
And they're relentless.
it's relentless. Like this is the thing
They're
about
gonna
them,
try to
right?
achieve the goal anyways.
They're relentless and they don't get tired. Like we as humans, I mean, we need coffee. Like I got it in the morning, like I got
Yeah.
my guy Joe to like be up. Like the agent's like, no, I'm gonna work 24/7 for you if you just keep giving me tokens. And so it's very exciting, very powerful. But at the same time, I'm like, what are you doing at 3 a.m. when I'm sleeping, right? Now that relentlessness has a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
And if it's going to keep getting the task done and if it has tools and access to work around kind of parameters we fix around it. And if it
Yeah.
can do that, it will do that.
We will absolutely
yeah,
like skip permissions
Yeah.
and try to achieve the task in any ways possible. The other day I was just making a simple copy change using clock code,
Yes.
and the SSH had disconnected. So then when it had remounted again, it realized it was a diff between when we connected and when it disconnected, right? So rather than just going, okay, we're gonna like ignore all that part, it included all the changes that were made in the last 40 minutes at Vanta, which is a lot,
Yes.
right? And it packaged those in a pull request. So that pull request was 15,000 lines of code changed.
Wow.
For a simple copy change.
I know.
And that gives you a perspective of like, obviously I was on auto approved because for a small copy change, you just like done. Like
you merge it in? They didn't merge it in?
no, obviously
no.
no, it didn't match it. We're a security company.
Yes.
We have like strong controls in place. So, but I immediately like realized that when I saw that we are going in GitHub,
Yes.
it had 12,000 lines of code and
It's huge.
20 teams being tagged, and I was kind of like very embarrassing. But that gives you a perspective on agents are extremely powerful. They are now operating at a different layer, which is the action boundary. And unless we start talking about, okay, what happens at runtime, and you can really accumulate session context to go, what is the agent trying to achieve here? What's the objective? And have guardrails to stop the agent from trying to do things that are not allowed based on your organizational policies. I think we're going to be in big trouble.
100%.
And yeah.
And I think that's interesting, right? Because it got to the point of a pull request.
Yeah.
But the question is like, where does the human get in the loop? Right? Because if the human's in the loop at every single step, it's like, that's not helpful anymore. Like you're babysitting it. But the question is like, when it goes from a, idea, conception, making something, when does it become risky? Risky is when it like changes the production code base. When it actually gets something out to email, right? And I think that's what's interesting in your story there. It's like, it stopped at the pull request.
Yeah.
And you had the moment of time to intervene. And now the question, I think, for many companies is like, what is that boundary? Where do I shift it? And how can it continually shift? In the future,
I really like that framing.
In the future, I can completely see some pull requests getting auto-merged if they're very low risk. But some things in the security, infra, anything to do with the software is really high risk. Things in the front end, like I'm experimenting with copy changes. Maybe we can be a bit faster and easygoing there. Very low risk there, right? And so I think that's a shift that we're all going through. And maybe to your point, that's all about the runtime. It's no longer about detect response, not longer about like what's going on. It's like, what are the boundaries and controls you want in place that we can deterministically even say, this agent cannot get out of this boundary.
Yeah.
Because if they can get out of it, they'll work around it.
Yeah.
Don't tell us about AARM. Like so that sounds like really core to it, or like when you go with that. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So after our paper, right? I really started to go, okay, the security controls we propose in our MCP securing the model context protocol. That was the title of the paper. The security controls that we documented did not convince me. And I really started to reflect on, okay, DLP great. You can implement DLP, you can implement firewalls. Okay, so this is a good example of like being live. There's a spider.
I
It's
know.
like
I'll see you coming down
coming in
too. This is
here. We're gonna show the spider. There you go. This is like
it's a real spider.
it's a real spider. Runtime,
Good job.
Okay, so going back of the idea of like, hey, we are in this space of like these agents have a new paradigm and they're kind of like working in a different way. What is that security solution to help mitigate that threat? And there was nothing in the market that had a system category to say, okay, if you have a virus problem, you're going to install an EDR. If you want to secure your network, you implement a firewall. But then if you want to secure your agents at the action layer, there's nothing. Well, this MintMCP, of course, but there was no kind of like category in which everyone was aligned to say, this is the name of the solution. And the objective of AARM was to say, this is the category that people can align to. Here's a specification that you can read and build on. And then both builders and implementers can align to say, this is how we solve this problem. And I published a paper on related to AARM on February 9.
Nice.
And 3 months after, we got asked by the Cloud Security Alliance to bring this project into their organization. So my team at Vanta, we decided to donate this project to the Cloud Security Alliance. And now today we have almost 60 companies part of the AARM Builder Registry. You're obviously one of the early adopters. Recently, Okta also joined the Builder Registry. There's like our other larger companies that are thinking about joining. So that kind of like shows some level of like interest in the industry about solving agentic runtime security.
I mean, this is, man, honestly, Herman, this is amazing, right? You are creating a brand new category.
Yeah.
Think about that. Category creation is one of those things that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
And I think we're just entering a new world now.
Yeah.
Software used to be static, right? We can do a static programmatic analysis and like, what is going on in the code that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Agents are not static, they're dynamic. And we need just an entirely different paradigm for both how we design them, how we build them, how we use them, how we secure them.
Yeah.
And so I'm super excited about what you're doing here with AARM. Just remind me the audience again, what does AARM stand for?
It's Autonomous Action Runtime Management.
Autonomous Action Runtime Management.
Yeah.
Really cool. Philip, who's going to give us more coffee, did say a few things. We should chat to the camera. Hi, guys. And then I want to say hello to a few of our guests. There's John from Redmond and Joel from Mill Valley. Really great to have you here. Sounds like you guys might be
It's
close
a beautiful
by.
place, Mill Valley. It's
Mill
just like
Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, maybe one day we'll see you in person.
Yeah,
See us on the street, say hi. And please, if any questions that you have, please just post on the webinar channel, the chat. And then we'll be getting them through the channels here. And then Philip will be giving us coffee and getting us to answer more things.
To celebrate ARM, let's move on to La Colombe Black Unsweet Medium Roast, no sweetener. There you go.
Great.
Thank you. This is all cold brews today.
All cold brews.
That's it. That's what we want.
You just need to just ask for more.
Cheers.
This one's
Cheers.
giant. You can have this all. This is a one day size here.
So we're selling ads for this, guys.
Nothing. No sponsorship. This is entire.
I know. There.
That's like
advertising.
I think they should rebrand it the kind of like the vibe coding.
Love vibe code.
Love vibe code.
Oh, yeah,
Love vibe Colombe.
The vibe Colombe. I like that.
Yeah, like, dude, AARM has been so far incredible. And I think it speaks to the level of adoption in terms of like AI builders. Everyone today is really shifting into let's make my product service agentic first. And that requires implementing strong security controls at the infrastructure level, obviously, but still also at the runtime. Because if you don't do that, you're going to slow down adoption. Because obviously, startups have a very low barrier or high tolerance, if you like, to risk. You can just go, okay, it's a new product, it's cool, I don't care. Open call was a good example. Everyone's kind of like buying Mac Minis. I think Mac Minis are not a thing anymore, but enterprise customers do think in a different way. They want to see a strong level of security. It is really not acceptable for hallucinations to happen in a enterprise setting. Because like, think about this. If you were to implement a large-scale agent that does critical workflows in a bank, imagine a bank with 300,000 employees, and then imagine 1 million or 2 million or even more actions being taken every day. If we consider the hallucination rate, even for the best model, which is kind of like either 1/3 of the time or kind of like an hallucination, you have so many things that are going wrong all the time that you need some level of solution in place to like resolve that. And I think that opens up a large market for companies like yourself to resolve.
100% there. In fact, I think funny you bring up OpenClaw. One of the things that has come up for many people recently is when like this space is thinking through some of the, like approaches to connecting data to agents.
Yeah.
You probably have heard of APIs, CLIs, MCPs.
Yeah.
And then, one thing that I see a lot of people asking me, like, how should I do this? Should I connect? Can I give API keys to everyone? Should I give CLIs to everyone? For us, my take on this is like, you don't really want to give, Joe in the corner of the sales team API keys to your Salesforce. Kind of risky.
Yeah.
An agent can take that and do crazy stuff with that. How do you see some of these conversations going, when talking to ARM folks, we're looking at this category? What should they do when they think about agent data access?
Yeah.
How should they lock it down? What is that like for them? Like, are these APIs the right way, CLIs the right way? What do you see out there?
Yeah. Maybe talking about the AARM architecture.
Yeah, and go for it.
AARM is a number of components. The first one is obviously you need to be able to intercept the action in a non-bypassable way.
Yes.
Because you do that to then accumulate session context. So the agent is connecting, try to do something, and then you need to intercept that process before it executes. Once you accumulate session context, you're going to go, okay, based on this action, this context, and the chain of thought of the agent, what is the agent trying to achieve? Once you understand that, you can put policies in place to say, yes, the agent is allowed to make this copy change, or no, because actually your goal was a copy change. Right now, you're making 12,000 lines of code changes. That does not align. So 2 things. I'm going to block it for policy, but also I'm going to block it for intent.
Oh, interesting. Yes.
And then once you then progress in the kind of like flow, you have like, we've defined different types of decision layers once you have that policy. One is approved. Obviously, there's a deny. But then there's also a step up. A step up is a human needs to approve. Even if you are on dangerously skip permission mode, you will have to like approve the action or defer. Defer is, I don't have the context yet. I think this action should be blocked, so I'm going to wait to see what the agent is trying to achieve. Or modify. Modify is the agent try to make 12,000 lines of code changes. The objective was a single copy change, so you can still instruct the agent to say, no, remember that your objective was XYZ, that is like, just simply make a copy change.
So interesting. So just to hear that right, like maybe back to the audience there, like part of it will need to become like deterministic policies. Like the agent can never automatically commit to production, for example. Very deterministic boundaries on what the agent can and cannot do. Then going beyond that, part of it will be, great, let's give the agent ability to make maybe riskier changes. But then force human approval on them. Right. So agents wants to change the copy, everything is landed, but have an approval step that's enforced in the agent runtime behavior there. And then beyond that, if you start, if you get more advanced than that, it's like as the agents have to do a lot of work. They run for an hour, 2 hours, sorting out reconciliation for you, or 1,000 customers from the bank, someone asking for refunds or like chargebacks and whatnot. You don't really want to like just give everyone everything.
Yeah.
So how can the agent look at the intent of the user, trace through the agentic reasoning process there, and at the end of it, if a potentially risky action or a high consequence action, so to speak, was to happen, then can a AARM system that wraps around this say, okay, that action, okay, now we need to make a decision there. Do we want to defer it? It's like, okay, we can't approve this now. Maybe as a human to look at it, or come back when the agent has more evidence? Or do we want to have a human approve it right now? Or maybe even block it like, hey, the initial intent was to just get some customer feedback on a particular transaction they had at the bank. Why are we doing a refund? This doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
We just block it, right? So it's like this like almost different levels of getting sophistication there, from deterministic boundaries to human approved boundaries to, agentically, like almost like a supervisor agent type thing, AARM supervisor agent that's dynamically figuring out the boundaries.
Yeah.
Does that feel about right to you? I'm thinking about this.
Yeah, that is like definitely the right way to think about it. Because if you go into the details of like agents are probabilistic machines, right?
Yes.
They just anticipate the next token and they try to like make some statistical kind of analysis here. But once you gather that pattern, you can say, if I want to make a copy change, the pattern from a statistical standpoint can be really plotted in a certain way. And then there's a requirement called semantic distance tracking, which really takes, this is the pattern of a copy change. But then if the agent is going in a different direction, the pattern is going to be going in a different trajectory.
Yes.
And then you can measure the distance between, normally, when the agent tries to do X amount of actions, this is the plot. But then when it goes in a different direction, you can say that distance does not make sense. Therefore, I'm going to block it. And it also helps you with something that is a failure mode in data loss prevention. That is, designing policies that are specific enough to be useful takes an incredible amount of time and sometimes do generate a lot of false positives. So let's definitely use LLMs to help us with the kind of like identification of those malicious behavior patterns through this like various things. One is like semantic distance tracking. There's also other solutions for that.
Very nice. And it's almost like hearing you say that, it's like maybe even the first place to start today for many people is like, you need to just understand the traces.
Yeah.
Like how many of us are running these agents and doing stuff in our companies? Cloud is doing work, but we have no trace collection.
Yeah.
And the problem is that we don't have the trace collection. You can't even get to the point of doing the anomaly detection.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I need to establish of like maybe my 3,000 bank employees.
Yeah.
How are they using their agents today? What are the traces?
Yeah.
How many of them are doing customer support and helping them get things done? And then with hundreds, thousands of those traces now, then you can say, wait, why is this one trace going off the rails? Right? Or maybe some customer injected something into the prompt and I was like, oh, it's going somewhere else now. Right.
Totally.
So it's almost like the runtime management starts a lot from observability, data collection, understanding the patterns of behavior.
Yeah.
Then from that, making policies, to your point, dynamically figuring out how to update them. I mean, there's a whole like loop in here we can do now, right? And then maybe the agents can run the loop to close them up too.
Yeah.
And so like the whole runtime of this, like I think it's really important. It's like secure by design, runtime observability, so much in here to think about there. Yeah. More coffee? Do you have more questions too, or where are we? Yeah.
Questions, okay. We can move on to the last. We're going to move on to the
let me finish this one first.
And you can dump if you have extra there.
I have nothing left.
Nothing left.
So this is probably the scariest Airbender Nitro.
Okay.
Cold brew. I don't know what's in it. It's probably just jet fuel.
Okay.
And hopefully.
Yeah, it definitely smells stronger.
Let's give you some more.
Ooh.
Let's do it.
There you go.
I like it. I like it. I like
if there are any questions.
This might be my favorite actually. It's a little bit of sweetness at the end somehow, or maybe the last two were too bitter and this one's getting sweet.
It comes back. It comes back slowly.
The last one didn't have any sweetness at all.
No. This has a little tinge of that. Like I like this a lot actually. Stumptown. I'm gonna get Stumptown.
Dude, tell me about your company.
Oh man, well, we have been on a journey. So MintMCP. So we started off last year when MCPs took off. Like it was just like amazing to see the adoption. So it's very rare to see a protocol that quickly adopted by all the major players.
Oh yeah.
Like today, every single company, the major AI players, so Claude, ChatGPT, Anthropic, Gemini, Google, Microsoft Copilot, they all support MCPs.
Yeah.
Right. And that to me is like a resounding statement like this protocol is here to stay. So we call ourselves MintMCP for that. And what we really saw was when a protocol gets so quickly adopted, there's an ecosystem shift.
Yeah.
Right. Because now companies, buyers, who are adopting AI, have a choice. Like, when I start to think about my AI deployment, I don't have to like go to Anthropic or OpenAI and say, okay, how do I integrate this really gnarly thing into my entire stack? I now have a way to start, composing building blocks in my company to adopt AI.
Yeah.
So taking a step back and thinking about what does it mean to adopt AI and tying back to MCPs, I think of it as things are actually rapidly simplifying this year in 2026 to the point that we have now figured out what an agent harness and an agent intelligence layer should be like. We all know that they should have sandboxes, security, they should have orchestration, sessions, runtime management, all the good stuff in there, and they're all looking the same. And what's really different for all of them right now is two things, really. Your MCP, data connections. How do these agents get access to your data systems in your company? You have many options there. I think MCPs is now the dominant standard format to do that. And number two, what do the agents know about your company?
Yeah.
How do they remember something? What do they know about your SOPs? Right. These are often now being thought of as a big collection of markdown files, or maybe some skill files. And skills are a little bit more like SOPs and operating procedures documented there. And so when you start thinking about it that way, take a step back now. How do I then roll out AI in a way that gives me optionality to choose what intelligence I want to use, figure out the data layer below that, MCPs and memory, and be able to switch in between the different agentic frameworks? And so for us and Mint, what we really focus on is that aspect of it. How do we help companies get to that point, rolling out AI, be able to secure data connections, govern data connections, how users and non-human identities, non-human agents access the data? How do all of those have a shared memory and knowledge of how the company operates? And giving the company that optionality of going in between different systems. Use Claude, ChatGPT, Cursor, whatever you want, it all works. And when we talk to customers in that journey of rolling that out, the hardest part that we always come back to is actually security.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of worried, if I gave an AI system full access to all of my CRM, my calendar, my internal company analytics, will I be at risk?
Yeah.
Will someone in a, operations team fat finger something and say, oh, can this actually delete stuff? Can you just clean up the CRM for me? And it goes like, oh man, okay, I'm gonna clean it up. Okay, great. You have no more, everything is clean now, the records are all gone. The bugs are all gone when there's no more code. Like this is the kind of stuff that people are really concerned about.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we come in today. So we're coming in, layering in, helping you connect all your data to the agents, getting the right security concerns, reflections in place, working with you guys, Herman, for example, and like really establishing the standard and the category on how do we think about this for companies that do it. I think AARM is one of the standards we're most excited about because it really formalizes all the concerns you need, right? And without that formalization, you can't compare vendors. You can't understand where to start. The checklist is now given to you because, there are standards for it now.
Yeah.
So that's how we do that. So, in a nutshell, we help companies transform their businesses with AI, really focusing on secure MCP data connections.
Yeah.
By really going all the way in to like, let's have agents run your business, but in a secure way. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Let me check on the AARM website because I think there is something interesting there.
Let's see what's up.
Okay, so if I go to aarm.dev and then I look at the builder section, something changed, dude. You guys are conformant.
We are. Woo!
That's incredible.
MintMCP is now conformant.
MintMCP.
We're green.
Conformant. You're green.
We're green.
You're not a green mug.
We're green.
That's incredible. Let's show it up here.
Show it up there.
MintMCP conformant to the AARM specification. That's incredible. Tell me.
High five.
Okay, but you did it in a way that it's different, though.
Oh, you have an amazing way to do conformance testing.
Tell everyone about it.
No. So we have been building Mint for a while, and
Yeah.
then Herman came to us like, hey, here's a spec, can we have you guys in it? And so we worked with you a lot, figure out everything's in there. And what was really cool about I think ARM and how to conform is actually through an MCP server.
Yeah.
I assume that talks about that one.
Yeah.
So we actually connected our instance to the MCP instance that Herman has set up for AARM-conformance.
Yeah.
And if you do any like compliance side things, you're always collecting evidence.
Yeah.
I need screenshots here. I need evidence of this. I need evidence of that. And it's like, how do we get all the evidence in the right place to determine conformance? So we connect. Herman is doing this amazing thing where you connect to his MCP server. You submit all your evidence through the MCP, all your screenshots, documentation. The agent goes on the internet and says, "Oh wait, is there really a well-known JSON web token thing configured in the public endpoint? Oh yeah, there is there. Let's submit that."
Yeah.
So we did all of that with Herman. Got our agents essentially look at Mint.
Yeah.
Collect all the documentation, or take all the screenshots, submit it to your MCPs, your agents, and establish conformance there. And through that process, it's rigorous, right? We go through the whole rigor of like, does this system support blocking tool calls if they're dangerous? Does it support requiring a second layer of human approval for restoration actions?
Yeah.
Does it support signing audit logs that are tamper-proof?
Yes.
Like doing all of those things in there. And so we went through that entire evaluation, and so glad we're green now.
Yeah. I'm super excited to see that, and I think it also revolutionizes in a way the I don't want to call it the audit world, because this is not a SOC 2 review. It's more of like it's a conformance review. You have a system specification. Think about it, it's like a PRD, right? It's a PRD out there that people can just go, yes, I'm going to adopt this PRD and build this system. And then the conformance review is more of a way for you to tell your buyers, hey, our system really works. It does not work on paper. Actually, an independent autonomous system has validated that your solution does all the things that the ARM specification says. And maybe you can attest to that if you don't do something, it doesn't let you.
Oh man, no, that's it. I was like, with everything, like, oh wait, I need more evidence in that one. Like, oh, okay, let's get the agent to gather more evidence. Like, it really gets to the details, and I think this is really interesting, right? Because, like, I don't know, it's like almost a modern version on where I see Vanta and Strata are going.
Yeah,
it's like traditionally a lot of compliance is like we hardwire some APIs, we collect some screenshots, we get there, but this is like agentic. The agents are going to push the boundaries and make sure that the platforms are really compliant, not just attested. Like, it's not like I couldn't go in there and say, oh yeah, Mint does all this stuff, please believe me. The agent's like, nope, I need to see the evidence. That layer was really fascinating to see.
Yeah, and I think it also adds an additional component that is, at times, auditors, they have some level of technical understanding, but they obviously can't really go super deep into the weeds and the details about how something works. Another example of like a recent conformance review of a very bright young team that is like building an ARM solution. They actually did something different. They plugged in their own agent and they said, give snippets of code to the ARM conformance MCP server to prove that we're doing stuff. So rather than screenshots, they did provide a code-only review. Well, their solution is open source, so they're kind of like
it's like a modern SAST. SAST.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to hear that the process was fun and the agent was not kind to you.
Oh no, it's strict. It's strict in there, and
yeah.
I think this is fascinating because now we can scale.
I spent some time making sure that it is very strict, because people need to feel that you as a builder need to feel that you're not given a pass just for the rubber stamping exercise, because the wrapper something exercise is great because it's kind of like get it out of the way, but then it doesn't give you any value.
What about you, like, so when I think about the buyer perspective, like what are industries, from the buyer side, like how should they think about the security space in here? Like when you talk to people trying to adopt AARM or adopt agents, what are their concerns today? What's top of mind for them? How should they approach some of these problems that you're seeing today, like out there? Yeah.
I think there's an evolution here. One big part of the industry thought at some point that the main thing that they wanted to resolve is the observability and discoverability of this scary shadow AI. That is, everyone's like deploying these agents and people don't know where they are, what they're doing, what access they have, and therefore demand for shadow AI discoverability came about. But that is a portion of the problem. You start with discoverability, absolutely, but then you can't stop there. You need to go deeper. And people today are really starting to get concerned about access. They're concerned about what tools are available in your MCP server, because you can just say, hey, I'm going to give you access at an organizational level with your account to these tools, these APIs, but then you as a user do not have access to, for example, you don't have access to the edit action in this MCP because I don't want you to. If you want to make edit actions, go through a natural, kind of like more secure protocol, as an example. So
that's actually really interesting, right? Because one of the things that we are seeing as well on our end is that in the agentic world, you don't actually want the full user permissions to carry on to the agents. Herman, yourself, you have so much permissions that you can do in Vanta.
I do have so much permission.
You can do a lot of stuff there, right? You could fat finger that you can delete stuff that you shouldn't be deleting. Now, when you have an agent work on your behalf, the riskiest thing I see out there right now is people are just like, oh yeah, here's my OAuth credentials, go forth and be me. And I feel like that's so risky.
That's the scariest thing ever. And people are doing that today. I think a lot of like influencer level people in the internet have kind of like went, oh, I gave Clout, whatever, I can't remember the name now. OpenClaw, the task of automate my life. That is the dumbest thing. And again, all respect for people wanting to try new things, but that is the dumbest thing ever, because these things are absolutely insecure. It's a new technology. You don't know where the data is going. They've been exposed with a bunch of like vulnerabilities, and you don't even know what happens in 10 years with all that data. So I think from a AI adoption, there's definitely like a larger problem that we need to resolve. And I'm really glad that people like you are like,
we're thinking very hard about that, because I look at it, I'm like, we run a lot of revenue operations in our company. And like, if I have an agent that's doing forecasting for me, it should have no reason to update or delete anything. And if the same agent's doing CRM work and updating notes now, maybe you should create an update notes, but not change anything else. And then sometimes I'm doing CRM cleanup, and I want to be really involved at that point. Like, let's not clean up everything, only the parts that I do not want in there. And if we were to naively just like, oh yeah, Claude, go use Salesforce, HubSpot, Attio, and go, we're going to be like not doing the right boundaries here. And it's so easy for the agents, to just go off the rails just a little bit. The 1% hallucination rate hits you once, and that's basically it, right? Your CRM system might now be in a state that's very hard to recover from. And so we've been thinking a lot about scoping that down, right? And I think like that's why I think maybe what ARM even first starts with. How do you scope down agentic permissions to only the set of things you need to do? And maybe from that, grow beyond that. And that's, I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts on that one too. Yeah.
I think I want to go even beyond what is happening today, because today there's like a very hybrid, weird situation where it's a unclear user plus human, or human, or sorry, it's like machine plus user credentials, which are kind of like very flaky. I think the future of when we're going to have AI employees or where we're going to have fully autonomous systems, that's where you need to start assigning objectives and credentials and user identity to agents that are purposely built at an organizational level. They have like guardrails in place. The agent for forecasting only has access to these tools. This is the defined objective. Because obviously, if you want to build an army of like, going to fire all of your employees and have all the agents working for you, you can, but you need to start building secure enclaves where those agents are running. AWS is already thinking about this. They have now launched in private preview a solution called AWS Runtime Bedrock. They might have changed the name, but essentially it's a secure server where you can install and run an agent with a set of tasks.
Interesting.
And it does not run in your local machine. It runs on a server, so you can put in some tasks, some objectives, you can give it skills, tool access, you can give secrets, and then the agent can just go and run a set of tasks. But then once you have that agent that is fully autonomous and it's not even instructed by a human anymore, that's where you're going to need a ARM solution on top of that agent that continuously tracks and monitor what's going on.
I like that. Like it's almost like we need IAM for agents now.
Oh yeah.
And then we need like delegations, we need on behalf tokens, we need all the good stuff in there. In fact, one thing that's fun, if you guys stay around for next few weeks, Mint is actually going to announce an agent identity product. And so that's coming soon. And then we're going to like wrap it up and make it compatible with all of these runtimes.
Yeah.
Great conversation so far. There's one question.
One question. Let's do that.
Chat about this topic. So I think we'll have that and close out, I think.
Sounds good. Okay, wait, close out with one question here. So like 10:43. So one of the questions we had was scoping down agent permissions. Question here was, does Mint has any observability on effective permissions across agents? So one of the things that we are starting to see a lot and from our customer base is this demand for, I want to build exactly that, a QA bot that runs every time something happens as the agentic thing. And I wanted to scope down its permissions to be more minimal than what any user has. I wanted to have Slack MCP access, but only to 2 channels. I wanted to have Google Drive access, but 3 folders. And GitHub access, GitHub MCP is huge, but only to read commits, read pull requests, create comments, but not land anything. So Mint actually today, we're starting to see a lot of people wanting to do that. And I think the hardest thing to do is how you draw the security boundary on those agents. And so now we are making it easy for people to add all these different connectors, sub-select specific tools and permissions, and then make it clear what delegated permissions there are in there as well. Yeah, so something like, if you're interested in that, please check us out. We are running to the end of the time in here. Thank you all again for joining us on this amazing webinar. Please let us know if you like the live version of this. This is the first time we're doing it. Yeah. If you have any suggestions, what else to do than coffee next time or different coffees, send it to us.
Or with more spiders.
Yeah, I'm going to hold on the spiders. But any last words, closing words, Herman, in the end?
No, it was great. Thank you so much for staying on, and hopefully this was an interesting conversation for you all.
Thank you, and please sign up for the next one. Thank you so much for spending your Thursday morning with us.
Thank you. Bye.
See you.